Hello guys and welcome to today's video. My name is Alex from Tech Fusion and today we are going to be replacing this battery on this mid 2014 laptop right here. This is a 15-inch MacBook Pro. It is my laptop that I bought in 2015 and it's still running the original battery that came with it. The problem is that the battery life is now down to around 60% and about 20 to 30 minutes of usage after it's being full, and it's definitely not enough for daily usage. So we are going to try today and just replace this old battery with a new one that I purchased from the internet. And I definitely encourage you to work on your own devices, especially if they're still good and you consider them to be good for another couple of years. And it is not a very expensive process, and it is actually a very DIY friendly process as well. I definitely encourage you to do little things by yourself, like swapping out a battery on an older device, especially if you think that that device might still serve you well for the next couple of years for the usage that you have in mind. For instance, myself on this laptop, I'm not doing anything complicated with it. I just use it for Netflix or for browsing, and well, basically that's about it. So definitely for that, it's still good to go for another couple of years. It runs 4K very well on it, and apart from another problem that it still has with the CPU cooler right here that we're gonna get to and fix in a future video, this machine is still good and definitely deserves the $80 or so that I pay for the battery, and I would figure around 30 minutes of fixing it up and getting it up to speed. Just a small disclaimer out of the way, I'm a regular Joe just like you. I don't fix devices for a living. The only knowledge that I have about such devices are from videos from YouTube. I don't know, from Lewis Rossman, or maybe from Alex from Northbridge Fix. That's about it when it comes to videos about repairing devices. But this is definitely something that I wanted to share with you, because this is definitely something that I'm going to attempt to do by myself. And if I am able to succeed on this laptop, then I'm pretty sure that you are able to do it as well. It's a pretty straightforward and simple process. All right, without further ado, I'll get you guys set up so you can see exactly step by step what I'm going to do to this laptop, and let's get it fixed. So this is the device that we are working with today. It did not have a very nice and easy life since 2015 when I bought it. It's been looked after for about a few years, and then after, it just kind of, I don't know, I used it every day and didn't really pay too much attention about it. I did do the occasional cleaning on the fans here, but we are missing some original pads that went here, so that's why I just rigged some scotch tape in here. Well, that's nothing big. Another issue that I have with it is the CPU cooler right here. These two brackets are actually broken off from the motherboard, but we are going to get to replace this in a future video, and I have a rework station that I bought just for that purpose, and I'm going to do a video if you like this one. And this is the main battery that we are working with today. I went online, I bought a brand new pack. I think it's around 95% the exact same match as the one that is in here. And the reason why it's not 100%, I will tell you in a second. So first of all, if we just lined it up, we can see that it actually lines up pretty well with the original pack. It has the connector in the exact same spot, and it is the exact same style of connector. And it fits rather nice, and it's in this compartment right here. It has some adhesive tape on the back here so that we can fasten it in the correct position and secure it in place after we are done with it. And the reason why I'm telling you that it is not a 100% match is because of this right here. So as you can see, this battery pack holds, or they say anyway, we will see in the software once we install it, this one holds 8,800 milliamp hours of maximum battery charge, while the original one that came with the laptop held only 8,440. The voltage seems to be the same though, 11.26, so that's pretty good. This is really important, and this is what we have running with this battery pack. And this is the same battery pack in the sense that it is a lithium-ion polymer battery, the same as the one that came with the laptop. So it having a bit of extra capacity is actually a good thing. I'm not really expecting it to have exactly 8,800, as this one did not exactly have 8,440. I think it had somewhere in between like 8,500 and something. So these figures are more or less a ballpark given by the manufacturers, because they can't be 100% sure with the numbers. So moving on, let's try and remove this battery, or I should say, let's see what we have to remove from this battery in order to get it out. First of all, use a plastic pick or something just to pick out the connector right here. Mine is already removed, but if you want to remove it, it comes in like this. You use a plastic tool like the one that I have here. Just gently pry up on it, and you should be able to get this connector nice and loose. Another thing to remove that the battery that I'm going to swap out for, is it doesn't have it included, is this where are this little rubber well, feet, or I should say rubber insulating material right here, strips. So we are going to remove these rubber strips, as we are going to actually use them later on to install on the new battery pack that we have. So we are just going to gently remove them. They're very loosely attached anyway by this point in time, because the adhesive is all gone by now. And this is what we are having to work with. These right here are some watermarks. If you see this go purplish, then that means that there's been water vapors or water that got in the battery compartment. As you can see, mine are pretty intact even after well, so many years. There are other things that we have to remove here. There are these two screws which hold in this little assembly here, so we are going to have to remove these. I'm actually working with well, a pretty basic tool set. It's from iFixit. I found it to be really good. I'm not sponsored in any way, shape, or form from iFixit, but anyway, I use their tools a lot because they're actually pretty good. Some free advertisement, if I could say so. I needed a little bit a smaller tip in there, so let's go with this one. Of course, we are working with the Apple proprietary screws, because Apple is doing everything nowadays to get our job harder at fixing devices. So we are just going to remove these two screws. Okay, now with the screws removed, let's get our plastic pry tool once again, and let's start prying at it and see exactly how it comes out. Okay, it's pretty easy to come out. There's nothing holding it in, so that's very nice. It's already loose. The other basic thing that we have to do, which might be a bit difficult, is to actually remove the adhesive strips on the back of this battery pouches. So let's try and gently pry out at them and see exactly how that goes. Should start from somewhere. Right, so we have some picks in here that we can actually start using and see exactly if we can get this dislodged. So I'm going to actually use this very flexible thin piece of knife that we have from iFixit, and just try to put it underneath the battery pack and just run it around. Okay, gently pry there. Gently try and pry over here. Mind you, this adhesive has been here for since 2015, and well, it's been running through a whole lot of heat cycles, so yeah, it might take some not so gentle prying to get out, if I may say so. So let's see exactly what's going on here. Maybe pry at these little guys here first. Okay, let's get some better tools in here, I guess. It's time for some more appropriate tools, I should say, like this here spudger. This is a metal spudger. I think this should come in handy while trying to remove this battery. Oh yeah, I can definitely feel it flexing much more and giving way while using this spudger. Yeah, I can actually hear it coming off. Yay, we managed to get one free. The idea is that this is a whole unit by itself, so don't just try to rip out one, because you are going to do some damage to these connectors, and you're not going to be sure exactly how those lithium-ion polymer batteries will take it. So just try and pry at each one of them, so that you can definitely get them loose. And after you got them whole loose, then you can definitely pry them out as one unit. That would be the best case scenario. So we got this one loose here. This is pretty loose. And we are going to move on to the next one, and so on until we get to the end. Working your way around the perimeter of the battery and doing it gently, it's definitely the way to go. Slow and steady wins the race, as the saying was. And I think I just nicked something here. Yeah, it's a very small plastic piece that I just nicked in here, but yeah, should still be fine. It's not a connector or anything, it's just a pass-through for the air to go through in the laptop itself there. So don't pry on any gentle parts like I just did here. That's definitely a no-no. This is my own device, so I feel very confident, even though I might nick certain little parts of it. It's not going to be an angry customer on the other side looking within his laptop and maybe, I don't know, yelling at me because I did something wrong. And this is a channel where I like to show you that things are possible and that you can do it by yourself. It's not a channel where I show you how we are doing professional repairs. This is just a DIY friendly, do it by yourself, of course, kind of thing, where we are trying to fix this laptop right here. This whole thing is about swapping in between parts, going back and forth and see exactly what works in what scenario, and just trying to get it loose overall and see if we can maybe insert something underneath it right here. Tell you what, after I'm done with this, I'm not gonna stick that adhesive pad on the back there. This is absolutely atrocious. I don't even see why this is such a necessary step. I mean, just a little bit of adhesive goes a long way. You are having actually the back cover of the laptop just holding the battery in its compartment fairly nice as it is. I mean, I don't see the excessive use of adhesive tape of being something that you should definitely do. This seems a little bit anti-repair, if you ask me, or excessive at least. And I don't think that this was just something done by mistake at the factory. This is just something that Apple asked for. Maybe Apple fixes their batteries in a different way, but I definitely don't think that this might actually be the case. Or I don't know, if you're an Apple technician, just write down to me what's the best way to tackle some of these batteries, or maybe this excessive use of glue from the factory when you're trying to replace the customer's device's battery. Okay, it's coming out. Jesus Christ. Whew. Jesus, look at this. Look at this. Look at this. I nicked it here. Yeah, it's too much adhesive strip, or anyway, the adhesive strip is definitely a quality adhesive strip, but it has a lot of it. Like, just look at this. Look at the way it's coming all the way from here to here, from here to here, with bits here and here and here and here. That's definitely way too much for a very little light lithium-ion pouch there. So yeah. Okay, moving on. 2 out of 4. Actually, I should say 2 out of 6 out of the way. Let's carry on with the remaining 4. Hopefully they're a little bit better and gentler to pry out. All right, starting off with this big boy here. Okay, putting it in here. Prying action. Starting now. Prying action continue. Popping noises. Popping noises means progress. Let's continue with progress. That's what I want to do. All right, starting from here as well. Gently or less gently trying to pry underneath the glue. Yeah, not working very good. Another thing that you can actually do is use some alcohol underneath the pad here and try to just, you know, put it within the adhesive's reach so that it can soften up the adhesive. But yeah, I'm just gonna still try and use some force on it. It should be fine. I feel it coming off. Yeah, there we go. Popping noises means progress. Yay. Okay, more progress here. This is a bit more involved in the process than I originally thought. And this is definitely the hardest bit, is to get this battery pouch out of here, because I have to actually hold it down somehow while I work and try and pry out the other one, the bit. I think I'm finally able to remove this goddamn pouch from its position. There we go. Just look at this. Absolutely freaking amazing. So just take a look at all the glue that they, well, figured that they were going to use with this battery. This is really excessive. Right underneath here, as I was talking about before, this is right a protection for the trackpad that sits right underneath here. As you can see, there is a thin cable that goes, this is the cable that goes from the trackpad to the other actual motherboard right here. So they rest the batteries with this adhesive strips on that metal backplate to protect, I guess, the trackpad itself. But when you're trying to tear this up or tear this apart or take it out, it is actually going to move the whole unit, the whole assembly. As you can see here, is going to flex this little flimsy piece of aluminum. So you have to pay extra attention on this, because this can definitely get you in a tight spot. If you just start ripping it apart, you might do some damage to the trackpad underneath. Yeah, at the moment, all being said and done, I have to go through and finish this whole procedure. I don't know if the trackpad is good or not. I think that it is. The cable is definitely good, and I don't see any obvious damage or any damage on the trackpad itself, which sits right underneath there. So I'll continue with the prying. I thought that this is actually difficult to remove. No, these are the actual difficult ones to remove. So yeah, let's carry on forward and see exactly how we can do it. One way I think I found a way to actually remove these easier is to actually try and pry something that is a bit thick, not too thick, but definitely not too thin. Just try and put it underneath the battery pack so that it goes from one way to another like that, and just run it all the way across from the top to the bottom of the battery so that you can get some of that adhesive action removed. So yeah, just trying to run it across like this, try to scrape at it as best as you can. I definitely saw that that's working, but I have another pouch to work with right here, so I'm going to try and see if this technique works. It should be better right now because I have better access with it like that. Yeah, but let's carry on and see. Okay, that's one. Come on. I can use this little spudger here that I have. This spudger that I have should actually do me some a great job, because it actually eats away at that very nasty adhesive. Okay, let's try and put it in here as well. Run it in between those adhesive strips and that aluminum backing plate there. Just try and separate it as best I can before I try to pry it out. Just look at this, this is amazing. Oh, way to go, Apple. These are not our products. They're making it dead obvious that you don't want us to work on our own devices. Yeah, of course, these are batteries. These can be dangerous, but if they are tackled the correct way, which I'm not saying that mine is the exact correct way. I'm actually very sure I'm not very far off from the correct way, but this is definitely hard to work with because of the adhesive amount of strips that they put on the back of these battery packs. Jesus. You just have to scrape and scrape and scrape and pull and scrape and pull some more and scrape some more. Jesus. Scraper, spudger. You actually can feel the resistance when you're pushing your spudger against the adhesive strip underneath the battery pack. So for instance, right here, there ain't any more adhesive strips. As you can see, the spudger goes in quite nicely. There is a little spot here, so yeah. And you can just scrape all the way along until you feel some of those resistance, like here. There we go. And just scrape until you hit the other side, because this is a plastic bracket right here that's supposed to keep the batteries in place. So just scrape away at the adhesive until you can get the battery pack removed. Yay! Okay, almost there, almost there. As you can see, it doesn't look very professional, but the amount of glue is absolutely, well, atrocious. I think I said this about a million times until this point in this video, but I'm absolutely impressed with the due diligence that Apple paid when sticking these pads down into position here. So these are basically free. We are almost there, as you can see. Oh, maybe just a bit here. We are almost free now. As I've said, that right underneath here, it is the trackpad. The connector seems to be okay. We are going to remove this completely, and after we are doing that, then we can see exactly what we are working with. So this here piece, I'm going to let it in place until I remove the other battery packs from their pouches. Prying action, more prying action required. Continue prying action until achieve result. Yes. I'll tell you one thing. It is a absolute great thing that this MacBook is made out of aluminum. So the case here is aluminum so that you can pry with a bit more well, oomph underneath that battery. And other than some scrapes that you're going to leave down beneath the battery, there's not going to be any major damage done to the casing. If this was plastic underneath, then yeah, you'd have a way more difficult time in removing these batteries. Adhesive removing. I can hear adhesive coming off. Scraping action. Battery removing. Yay, there we go. This is nothing compared to this or this. Jesus. That's yeah, definitely something. So let's continue here. Last one to go. This one should be quite easy and straightforward. This was actually the easiest one of the bunch. So yeah, let's get this puppy out because it's time for it to go. So finally, this is basically removed. So let's finally remove this old piece of battery from here. Okay, just like that. Ta-da! Empty space. As I've said, we're not going to clean anything and just go ahead with the new install. After scraping so much adhesive from the back of this thing, you know what? God spare me if I don't actually want to reuse other pieces of adhesive. I'm just going to install it like this. I'm pretty sure it's gonna be hold in place quite well because it has 2 screws going in here and the other 2 screws which are going to hold it down in here. So I'm just gonna install it as is, and then I'm going to remove this plastic wrap from under or over it, I should say. It fits in quite nicely. That's very good. That's what I wanted to see actually. And yeah, let's go ahead and remove this. It actually states that, well, you shouldn't remove it beforehand and you should actually install it first. Screwdriver, screw action. Let's get the screw on the bit in here and we are trying to install this puppy right back up. I do not want to go through that ever again. And in case I might do this in a few years time, maybe, I don't know, I am not going to use the adhesive strip. Yay, great. Before we wrap things up on the back here, just make sure to connect the new connector to the old connector on the motherboard over there and make sure it clicks into position. And once you have done that, that means that the battery is ready to go. So let's do that now. Click, click, good. All right, everything's done. Let's put the case back up together and see exactly how it handles. So as I have actually shown you, you have 2 screws in here and the other additional screws are going to be used by the case over here. So the battery pack should be pretty well secured with 4 screws, and on the sides here, they're actually going to be just held in place by the case itself. So I'm pretty happy with that. Overall, if you don't think that this is enough for you, of course you can remove the adhesive strips on the back of the battery cases there. But for me, in my use case, I would definitely think that this is definitely fine, and I will continue with it as is, because anyway, I haven't planned to actually remove this battery sooner rather than later, when we are going to use the rework station to actually solder back on these pins here on the CPU cooler. And I don't want the battery to be exposed to any amount of heat. So I will actually remove it from the case, and maybe once we are done with that and put it back up, maybe I will consider removing the adhesive strips from the back and put it in its case. Yay, we have a chime. This is great. That means the battery is working. We'll have to check the trackpad though, and exactly the battery health indicator. So here we have the working laptop. The old battery strips or battery packs right here. Finally able and glad that we have been able to remove them. The trackpad is working. As you can see, the mouse floating around over there. That's pretty nice. So the trackpad is really good. We have not broken the trackpad there. And the battery health indicator here, as you can see, we're sitting at around 8,760 milliamp hours. If this would focus a bit, there we go. This is the current maximum. And well, the manufacturer would say that this should be at around 8,600 milliamp hour. Anyway, the health indicator shows a 102 health on this battery, so that's very nice. Overall, in the end, we have been able to actually do it ourselves, fix the battery on this MacBook Pro. This should extend its service life for a few more years at least, and I'm pretty happy that we were able to do this by ourselves, and it only took around 40 minutes of not so gentle prying, but anyway, the end result is great and I'm pretty happy. So I am pretty sure that you can actually do this by yourself, without using very expensive tools, just some pry tools, as you can see here, a screwdriver, some picks, and that's pretty much it. Thank you guys for choosing to experience this video with me. This was an absolute pleasure for me, except the bit with the adhesive strips. That was a bit frustrating, but yeah, moving past that, I'm pretty happy because I can get to enjoy this laptop for another few more years moving forward. And this is a job that I have done by myself. It actually took around 40-45 minutes to actually do it by yourself. You just have to remove 2 screws, and after a lot of prying action, you get to install your brand new battery pack in there, and you're good to go. So you don't have to pay a ridiculous amount of money to Apple to do it for you, then you can just do it yourself for the actual cost of the battery pack. And once you shop around for older devices, you can get away with around 40 to 50 bucks of doing it, and that's pretty nice. Don't forget guys, you can leave your thoughts and comments down in the box below. I actually encourage you to do that because I'm pretty sure that there are going to be a lot of you guys just saying that I've done something wrong. And overall, this is what's done is done, but this is very useful for people that are watching this video and probably considering to fix their own laptops, so they can use the advice and tips that you guys have for them down in the box below. Thank you guys once again, and see you guys in the next one. You've been awesome.